Hey guys, well it's another day and we're back working on the CT70s, and today we are going to take a look at the head from the 1976 CT70. If you recall, in the last episode we took the head off. We're going to take the jug off soon, and we're waiting on some parts to do an 88 cc kit. Okay, so while we're waiting for that, let's see if we can go and work on the head a little bit to make sure that it is good. It's going to be in good shape for us, and maybe do a little bit of a valve grind on it. We'll see. But here it is, and I want to show you the chamber. Now, I'm not cleaned it up at all. This is, call it, CT70 fresh. We've not done any cleanup on this yet. We've not done anything with it. And you can see the usual carbon buildup, yada yada, on the head. Now, we want to make sure those valves are seating really well. Okay, so there's a couple of ways to test that. Now, I'm actually going to test it now, and then I'm going to test it again later. It very well could be that these valves, although despite all carboned up, that they're seating really great, or they may be leaking, and of course we need to clean them up. So you know what I'm going to do, just to loosen up the carbon, but also to test to see if it's leaking right now, is I'm going to actually go and use some Marvel Mystery Oil, and we're going to go and pour it in here with the, we've got the, you can see we've got the spark plug still in there, right? So within this cavity, we're going to fill this cavity up with Marvel Mystery Oil. And then, you know what, I think I'm going to go watch a football game because the Grey Cup's on today. I know I'm just going to leave it, and we're going to see that, after the Grey Cup game is over, we're going to see if it is leaked. In the interim, whether it's leaked or not leaked, that Marvel Mystery Oil is going to do a little bit of, loosen the carbon up, shall we say, and get the process going to actually clean this thing up. So that's what I'm going to do. So you know what? Let's go grab the Marvel Mystery Oil and let's fill this thing up. Okay guys, so got my trusty Marvel Mystery Oil. Amazing stuff. I'm not going to go into that right now. You guys probably know all about it. We're going to fill up the chamber here with the Marvel Mystery Oil. We've still got the spark plug in there, and we are going to then just let it sit and see if she leaks. Okay, so let's just see what happens. Fill her right up to the brim. Not too worried about making a mess here. Okay, good. I would say that's pretty darn full. Okay, and you know what's good news is I'm not seeing it immediately rushing out of the head. I'm not seeing any air bubbles or anything else coming out of this. So far that's a pretty good sign. Now obviously Marvel Mystery Oil is thicker than air. Obviously when this thing is working, you're dealing with significant air pressure, not this. But that said, this is a pretty good sort of rough test. Now I think probably we're going to go through this and, well, in fact, I know I'm going to do a little bit of valve job on this anyways, but I'm curious to see what condition it's in already right now. It'll give us an indication as to how much we need the valve to clean, grind the valves or just clean them up, etc. If it really leaks out, then we know we've got a bit of work to do. If it doesn't leak out at all, we know we just really need to do a cleanup and a mild sort of, a little bit of grinding, but nothing too severe. Then, of course, once we clean it all up, put it all back together again, we'll then go and do this test. Again, we may even do the test with something a lot thinner like gasoline. Okay, I'm using the Marvel Mystery Oil because I want this stuff to kind of, decarbonize it as part of this process. Anyways, that's what we're doing so far here. So yeah, gonna watch the Grey Cup game and we'll let this thing sit. Hey guys, well, you know what? It's been about 30 minutes. The Grey Cup game hasn't even started yet. I was gonna leave it the whole darn time. But you know what? I popped back out in the garage here. It's been about 30 minutes only. And take a look at our head. There's nothing left in it. Look at that. It all leaked out. And let's take a look at where it was leaking from. And you know what we can see? Obviously we've got the exhaust side, right? And we have the intake side here. And we can clearly see it was leaking out of the intake. Okay, well, you can kind of see that here. Look at that, intake, exhaust. It just kind of leaked, you know. My garage floor isn't level, so that's, but yeah, you can see it leaked out over on the intake side. And if we take a look at the exhaust side, if I get my finger in there, yeah, I get dusty, dirty finger, but I don't get a lot of oil on it, a lot of Marvel Mystery Oil. So that was that's really quite disappointing. So clearly this may have been part of our compression issue with that engine, as if you recall, that engine does have really low compression. This definitely could have been the cause, or definitely wasn't at least helping anyways. Anyways, you know what that means? Is it means we do need to do a valve job. So you know what? Let's crack on. Okay, guys, let's start taking the rest of the head apart. So we'll first start by taking these valve covers off. So now what we want to do is we want to actually get the cam and our rockers out of there. So the way we do that, okay, is by actually removing this plate here initially. So we're going to use our trusty GIS screwdriver. See how good. Oh, not too bad. Not too bad. Got the impact handy if we needed it. Now this is, of course, as I've mentioned before, GIS. Do not use a regular Phillips screwdriver on this or any other Japanese motorcycle, or you'll be paying the price with a lot of strip-headed screws, machine screws. So, okay, so that's done. Let's see if we can get this off. I probably should have grabbed a flat-headed screwdriver for this. Let's see if we can get this off of here. 2 secs, gonna grab a flathead. Okay, let's just pry this off. It's got a nice little, the reason I wanted to use this, it's got a nice little prying area right here. So that's what we're going to do here to get this off. Yeah, there we go. Nice. So it's nice to have a spot like that that's designed in to enable us to, oh, look at that. We were even able to save the gasket, which is always nice. So that's good. I'm not sure we're going to reuse that gasket, but nice to save it nonetheless. Okay, so the next bit is to get the rockers out. We've got this panel off, or this cover off here now. That is our camshaft right in here. But before we can get that out, we're going to need to take the rockers out and also the spark plug out by the looks of it as well. So let's, the way that we take the rockers out, we grab just a M8 bolt. I happen to have this one here, okay, and we screw it in to, there's a keeper, sort of a hollow rod, if you will, that goes in here, and by putting this in, we can now pull that keeper out. Okay, guys, so we've got the M8 machine screw in there. Now we're just going to pull this out. Oh, there we go. That one went really easy. Take that keeper out, and you can just see it's just a metal keeper, and it's hollow on the inside, threaded with M8 thread, so you can just, you know, screw it in there and pull it out. They can be a little bit stiff though when they're coming out, and so, you know, that's where I'm using the vice grips. Get it in there as far as, you know, with a goodly amount of thread, okay, and then they may just slide out. If they don't, then, you know, do something like what I'm doing and give them a good yank. Okay, there we go. I had to give that one a good yank too. So I had to pull harder than I could have pulled with my fingers on this, you know, greasy material. Okay, we've got those out. So now what we can do is we can just pull, or just pick the keepers out of here, because those or the keepers, I should say, the rockers. We've got the keepers out. Now we can just lift the rockers right out of here. Okay, so let's take a look at them. What we're looking for is wear marks, right, where they've been touching the camshaft here to see. Now this one actually looks, I don't know if the camera picks that up. Let me just see if I can show you, but it looks very good actually, not too shabby. We're probably going to, there's maybe a tiny mark on it in the center, but for the most part not bad. That'll polish right up. Let's take a look at the other one here. Let's just try to lift that out of here. Okay, see what it looks like, and yeah, very, very similar. They look actually in excellent shape, so that's not a problem. Okay, so now the next step is to get our camshaft out. The camshaft, of course, is still in here. We want to get that out of there as well and have a really good look at these lobes. So let's, to do that, I've still got the spark plug in, so let's take that spark plug out of there. Okay guys, now we can push the camshaft out, and it pushes out towards the same side as where you would attach the timing gear, okay? This is where the timing chain would be, the timing gear would be there. So that's the side that we're gonna push it out towards, and we just simply push it from the other side, okay? Now that we have those rockers out of there. And you're gonna have to twirl it a little bit carefully as you get it out of here. So you just do it gently. We don't want to scuff or mark the surfaces. There's no banging or yanking on this. Just turn it until it naturally falls out. And you, as I mentioned, that's why you've got this funky shaped hole here, right? Is so that you can actually turn the lobes into those various areas to get it in and to get it out. Okay, so just be gentle. It will just come out that easy, but you will have to, you know, manipulate it a little bit to get it out. So now that we have it out, let's have a little look at what we have with this one in terms of, wow, you know, this looks really pristine. I don't see, I'm gonna get this cleaned up a bit more and have a better look, but boy, on first examination, it looks pretty much perfect. This bike, if you can believe the odometer, only had 2,600 kilometers on it. Well, kilometers or miles, I'm not really sure. Maybe it's miles. Well, let's just say 2,600 miles. That's probably what it is. I'm probably wrong. That's not very much, right? But this, clearly this bike was not starved for oil. It looks really good. So there we go. Now it's apart. Now the next thing we need to do, and this is the key bit, because of course our valves were leaking, right? The key bit is now we can go ahead and take those valves out as well. So let's, I've got to grab the tool for that. I've got a little special tool for taking these out. So let's go and get on with that bit now. Okay guys, so now we need to take the valves out. So our valves are in here, obviously, and they are being held by these keepers and these springs here. These springs put tension onto the keepers, and what we need to do is compress these, and then there will be two little keepers inside here that we need to carefully take out. And I guess this could potentially be done on a small engine like this without, you know, specialty tools, but I highly recommend getting a small valve stem compressor tool like what I have here. Makes life a lot easier. So I've just got this ready to go here, and we are just going to hook this up. And actually, maybe just before I go, I'll just mention that the way this works is because these are hollow, once we compress the springs, we'll be able to take the keepers out of this area here. If this was solid, we wouldn't be able to even get at them, right? So this is kind of how that tool works. It might be a little bit hard to see, but you'll get the idea. So I've got a larger one on this end, and that will match up with the size of the top of the valve here. And then this one, which is smaller, matches up with the size of the opposite end of our valve stem where the keepers are. Okay, so that's the process here. That's what we're kind of striving for. So let me just see if I get this in here. And need to just kind of tighten her up a little bit, finger tight here initially, making sure everything is lined up. Okay, and then making sure she's lined up over here. Okay, now I just need to grab my little tool here to tighten this down a little bit more. I'll try to do this so hopefully you can see the keepers coming out. Let me see if I can do that this way here. So as we're compressing it, you'll start to see the tip of the valve stem, well, raising up, but really what it is, the main keeper washer lowering down, and then it'll be two split half keepers that need to come out of there. And I'm going to try to grab those with a magnet. So I'm not sure we've quite got it there long enough. I've got a small little magnet here. I'm going to try to just grab those out of there. Oh, there's one. Okay, do you see that? There's one. Okay, Just put that down carefully so we don't lose it. Definitely need these again. So grab the other one. Where are you there? Okay, let's see if we can grab a different angle. Okay, I think I see it now. There we go, and there is the other one. Okay, great. So let's just, in fact, I'll put them both on the magnet so I don't lose them. Just put them there. Okay, now we're going to take this off, winding it carefully. Again, I'll trying to show you here. It might be a little bit difficult, but hopefully you get the idea. So we'll unwind this. And that should, because the keepers are out, that should allow that washer, well, in fact it will, just allow that washer on the end of the valve stem to just, basically fall off. We'll just pop this right out of here. Okay, we've got this tool released. Get that out of our way. Now you can see we just have sort of the end of that there, and we're just going to tip this over, and that should allow this to come out along with the spring. Okay, and there it is. Okay, just like that. So that's what's come out of there. And now you'll see we just have our valve stem here. So now, oh, there we go, just fell out. So the valve, of course, was just like in there, like that, right? So now with the keepers out, it can just fall out. And why that's important is because now we can actually clean the valve up, right? We can clean the seat up. We can do a bit of a valve grind on this and hopefully get it so that it stops leaking. So I'm going to go ahead and do exactly the same with the other valve, and then we'll start doing the cleaning process and the grinding process. So yeah, there we go. Okay, we've done the intake side. Now let's do the exhaust side. So let's do exactly the same thing as before. We'll wind this down, compressing the spring, which will enable us to release the keepers. We'll use our magnet to pull them out. Here's one. And let's see, we grab the other one here. Here's the other one. And the keepers are out. So now we just need to release our tool. That again, of course, releases the spring, this time on the exhaust side. You can see we're working on the exhaust side here. So just get the tool off. And maybe as I'm winding away here, I'll just say that, a tool like this is really reasonable. For these small engines, you can pick this up on Amazon for, I don't know what I paid for this, very, very little. I think it was like $20 odd or something, but believe me, you could spend hours trying to do this without other tools. Okay, so yeah, so now let's take the, what are we going to take out? Yeah, we'll take this out here. We'll take the spring out with the keeper. Well, it's not a keeper, it's a washer, isn't it? The keepers are already out. So there's our first spring. There's actually another smaller spring in there. These two springs actually nest together, and I probably should have shown you this on the exact same thing on the intake side. Okay, the spring just goes in there, then the little keeper or the little washer goes on top of there, and then these little keepers go in here when you put the valve stem through. So that'll be the assembly process, but that's how that comes apart. And then of course we want to get our valve out. So yeah, let's just give that a little push. And there is our exhaust valve. Okay, great. So actually this one, if you recall, wasn't leaking, but we're going to clean them both up anyways. We'll do a bit of a valve grind on them. And yeah, and of course we'll clean all of this up too. So that'll be the next step.